The uncomfortable truth about friends. Man, listen, when you grow up, you get older, man, you start to realize a lot of things about your so-called friends and people that you hang around, right? Like you hang out with kids in high school, maybe you went to college and you thought that y'all was boys, thought that you'll grow up, see each other go to the next step in life, and then next thing you know, things start changing. People start acting different. Maybe you start acting different. And the uncomfortable truth about friends and the people that you start to hang around is that people change. You change. And it's kind of sad, man, because you would think that you would have the same friends growing up, but things change. Like y'all's interests change. Maybe you start to grow and maybe others don't, or maybe they start to grow and you don't. And there's a lot of other elements that come into play as well. Maybe there's some financial things. Maybe they're struggling, maybe you're struggling, or maybe you see them doing better than you, or whatever the case may be. But ultimately what happens is you start to separate, and that's the truth of the reality. And it's uncomfortable because, again, you have this ideal image of who you'll be hanging around maybe when you get older. Maybe you want to see each other's kids and be called uncle and, their cousins and all of that. But in reality, something that stuff likely isn't going to happen. So I'm going to tell you why, right? Here's the thing. Sometimes you're only cool with people because of your proximity. Your proximity creates the people that you're around. So you may live in a neighborhood and your mom or whoever your guardians were at the time, you're cool with them or you're cool with your friends because y'all parents knew each other. So by default, you all become cool. Y'all lock in. Y'all might have one interest, which may be sports or playing a game or something that's very surface level. And then you move or you go to a different school or you grow up and now you're not around that same proximity. So therefore you're not friends with that person anymore. And that's okay, right? Like I think that you have to be okay with that because again, if you're only cool with somebody because you lived in the same neighborhood or the same, y'all parents were cool or anything like that, you have to be cool with it because maybe that person was never meant to be in your circle anyway. Honestly, I think that the sooner that you can figure that out, the better. Because again, if you're hanging around people that aren't in the same mindset, the same space as you, then they can pull you down. And I think again, if you're able to be more comfortable with saying, you know what, nah, I don't think we're gonna, we're not cool anymore, or I think we should just go our separate ways. Or a lot of the times in the male community, man, you won't even be saying anything. You just kind of start to notice the divide. Like things just start to separate on its own. You start to, when you go around people, they're having the same conversations or you're talking about the same old stuff, or maybe you're realizing that y'all don't have the same type of conversations anymore, or it's not that same spark. The energy's not there. The synergy is gone. The synergy might be gone. If you only can bond over drinks and smoking and you can only bond over things that you have to do, like playing a game, like you just can't sit there and have an authentic conversation with somebody, that means that it may be time to move on from that person. But again, you got to be cool with that. Like even relationships can change even within a year, even as an adult. When let's say you get out of school or you're in the working world or you're doing your thing day to day, you could be cool with somebody for 3 months and then you notice that things start to change. It doesn't necessarily have to be about who you're around, and that's because your values change. And what I mean by that is that circumstances in your life change and you start to recognize who's there for you, who's not, or you just start to have different interests. At some point in your life, you may not want to do the same things that you once wanted to do. And again, those friends may want to do those things and that's cool for them, but maybe you don't want to do those things regardless of what it is. Or maybe you want to just change your focus. When focus changes, you are going to be put around different people that are on that same synergy. And again, your friends may not be on that, or your past friends may not be on that. Now you can take it upon yourself to try to bring them with you or take them with you, man. I'm not saying that in a matter of that you are going to level up and that you're not focused on leveling up, because you should always be focusing on leveling up. But again, everybody's not going to be on that same wavelength, even on the aspect of leveling up. So you can try to pull your friends up and help them level up, but sometimes they may not be on that wavelength. They may not want to be on the same time as you, and that's okay. And that's why it makes it uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable because if you're a person that actually cares about the people that you're around, it gets uncomfortable when you're trying to pull and people aren't taking the pull, right? Like they're not willing to change. They're not willing to do any better. And if you're the friend that's focused on leveling up and they're not, you got to leave them. And that's what makes it uncomfortable. If you leaving people, you feel like you're leaving people, or you leveling up, or you feel like people can manipulate you too, and they'll try to make it seem like you switched up or you changed. But in reality, you're supposed to change. You're supposed to be better. You're not supposed to be the same person you were 10 years ago that you are today, right? And that's what comes with it, right? Like you have to be okay with that. You have to know that. And the faster you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable and leaving or changing your circle or being around different people and elevating and leveling up like that, then the faster you'll grow And if they want to be around you and and you see good intention, there's nothing wrong with letting them back in. But it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to focus on yourself. Be you. Be authentic to who you are. If you don't want to play the game all day or just play sports all day or fool around and you want to change your life and level up, that's cool. Because ultimately you only have one life. And if you spend that focusing on what everybody else is doing or what they're talking about or what you're trying to stay around the same group, then you'll never level up. You'll never be a better version of yourself. And yeah, that is uncomfortable. That is different. That should be uncomfortable for you. So the word of the day is it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be different. It's going to be challenging because your friends are going to change and you may not be around the same people you were with last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And what you manifest should be successful people in your life. And you'll start to recognize if you start manifesting and praying about that, then the people that are around you currently may not be around you. And you got to be okay with that. So get uncomfortable. Be okay with taking that step, being successful and selfish with your time and your energy, and be willing to delete people out of your life if that's needed. And know that people do change. Even, people around you are going to change. They have different interests. So even if you don't do anything and you're not the one that's changing, they may change, and that's okay too. But you got to know that, and you got to be okay with knowing that it's not you, that it's just them, and that's cool. Again, like just be okay with that, and just focus on you going to the next level and getting to whatever goal that you want to go to, or just focusing on whatever you have in front of you at this point in time. So that's what I wanted to say today, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Coach J out. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.